Here we have a short video of the NYPD Police Chief, Terence, Monahan? Monahan, taking a knee with, some protesters. In my opinion, it's a nice gesture from the cops, trying to show solidarity. But where was all this solidarity beforehand, when people were protesting peacefully over cop abuses? And this guy has been a police chief since, 2016, and there's been a slew of incidences from the police that serve him, like 40,000. Some have been dealt with, many others have been let go, some not even really charged, but given, desk duty. So, in my opinion, it's kind of too late to show solidarity when the actions only come when people are fed up with police abuses and start to riot, and not when people are peacefully protesting and you can actually take a stand and actually do something to cause changes. There is other cops, siding with protesters, but all these cops knew about other cops committing various crimes and stuff, and do nothing about it, but turn a blind eye. And it shows that they are for the cops committing crimes. Otherwise they would have arrested him the moment they knew the cop was committing a crime.
I want to play this amazing moment at a protest. This one is in New York City, where things got tense, okay? And then the police chief, Terence Monahan, addressed the crowd. You have to watch this.
There is not a police officer over here that thinks Minnesota was justified. We stand with you on that. But this is our city. Our city. Do not let people who are not from this city have you come here and screw up your city. You got it, all right? Yo, thank you for supporting us. We got.
One question though: how are people supposed to know who is not, and who are not residents of the city and who are from outside of the city? Not everybody's gonna know who everybody is, so it's gonna be impossible to try to enforce that the only people at these protests are people that are residents of the city. But him trying to, lay down a rule of no outside protesters, he can even, keep his police department clean.
We're gonna continue marching peacefully. I promise you. All right? Have a good day. I love you. You marching this way.
You talk this shit, bro. I like that.
Thank you, bro. All right, let's go. Back up.
Police officers are taught to de-escalate. This is a police officer doing that. We have seen excessive force from police at protests, but we've also seen some really positive moments like that one. Would deploying the military just make things worse? Is this not, don't we need more of this instead of seeing militarized cities right now?
Absolutely, Don. There's no question about it. You know, there are a number of chiefs and sheriffs around this country, a few of them, that certainly are demonstrating the same type of camaraderie people are beginning.
The militarization of police is due majority and part with the war on drugs, which could easily be solved by legalizing drugs like Portugal did. Well, they decriminalized it, but either way, if we followed the steps of Portugal, we could easily solve that issue. But with the war on drugs, cops considered it a war, and with excess military goods, the federal government gave them military weapons and stuff, and they treat themselves as people in a war against the war, in a war against a war on drugs, which is nothing but people choosing to take an intoxicant, just like people choosing to drink alcohol and stuff. Legalize it, problems related to drugs will go down. But if you take a look at the war on drugs, from the very get-go, it was something to use, and this is even supported by recordings of Richard Nixon and stuff. The drug war is used to break up peaceful protest, arrest black people, arrest Mexicans, and help try to prevent Mexicans from wanting to immigrate into the United States. During this time, the Vietnam War was going on. Black people were starting to become more prominent and with various rights, and Mexicans were immigrating into America in probably slightly higher numbers. They all had in common was the use of cannabis, and using cannabis as a way to demonize people. The federal government could stop peaceful protesters and arrest the leaders, arrest black people, and arrest Mexican immigrants. So the entire government system that the U.S. Justice system is pretty based upon race.
To show with their communities just as much as they do with their men and women. And that's what people in the community want. They really want to be joined with their police department. They want to feel a sense of trust. They want to feel that they're legitimate, which really means I trust you. This chief here, it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of feelings. He's a compassionate man, and he knows what.
Breaking news: Trump threatens military force if local officials don't crack down on protest over George Floyd's death. That basically will be a declaration of war on the citizens. I mean, I think this video is actually a few hours old, maybe a day or so old. Trump has already, well, not actually, well, the military police is being used in Washington, D.C. to bolster the numbers for the police. I know there's National Guard around pretty much everywhere. Did see a video of National Guard people shooting at somebody on their porch, and there was an incident in Louisville where a protester was killed. I'm not sure if it was either a cop or a National Guard that was trying to break up the protest, but sending in the National Guard, military people, and more cops and stuff is not what is needed to end these riots and protests. What is needed is to start disciplining authority figures that abuse their authority and commit crimes from bottom to top, left and right. All of these people need to be charged and tried for their crimes. A lot of it gets covered up because it's easy when it's easy for a cop to cover up their crimes because they're a cop. They know a lot of the law. They know other law enforcement figures. So if you need help from your buddy, well, it's easy when your partner will lie for you.
What's good for his city and for his community. We need more of that, but we need them to do it all the time. Not just in this case now, but all the time. But let me add one other thing too, Don. This case here with George Floyd, it is easy for all of us to recognize that it was wrong. It's easy. It don't take a whole lot of courage to recognize what happened out there was wrong. It's the other cases, Don, okay, that we need to have the same amount of courage about as law enforcement officials to stand up and when we see something wrong, to do just what we're doing right now, where it may not be as easy to make that determination, but we need to make sure we join communities such as what we're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, that was Chief Terence Monahan. My only concern about that was the lack of social distancing. I love the hug, but we're still in the COVID area. I just wish that they were wearing masks, maybe some gloves, and maybe an arm bump or something. But I love what happened there. That was a great moment.
Yeah, it is kind of messed up that people have to protest and stuff, the corruption of cops during a pandemic. It shouldn't be this way, but because the state wants to ignore the lives of the citizens that live underneath the system, this is what happens.